without further ado, it's been a minute. Um, you know, life puts you on those hiatuses sometimes. You know, between this, that, and the other thing. So it's been a healthy minute since I've been on. I haven't really wanted to talk about much of the bullshit that's been going on, anyways, because it's been so fucking stupid. I mean, watching all this nonsense with Trumpy and him having his little petty arguments with DeSantis, the whole political shit, man. It wears at you, in time it wears at you, and it just is like you sit there and you watch it every day, and you just are like, fuck this shit, man. Like, who gives a fuck about these fucking people, right? I give a fuck about you guys, right? That's what I give a shit about. I don't give a fuck about these fucking politicians. They can go suck a fat baby's dick. I don't give a shit. Whatever they want to do, I don't care. It's they're inconsequential to me. They should be to you too, I suppose, because really, when you look at the whole scheme of things, there's almost 340 million of us, and there's a couple thousand of them. I mean, if we had half a brain, we would just turn our backs on them. What are they going to do? What are they going to do come tax day? You don't file your tax, what, are they going to come arrest that many people? Look what they're doing to these January 6th motherfuckers, right? Now, again, I'm not condoning anything that went down on that day. However, the information that has come forth has shown that there was certainly a justification for being enraged over the election. There's no fucking way. There's no way that Grandpa Simpson pulled in that many votes sitting in his basement. There just ain't no way. Unless you all are that stupid, and I really would like to think that you're not that stupid. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to vote, you're going to be a dummy anyways. I mean, here's where, what do they say? Here's where the rubber hits the road. It's like, all right, what are you going to do the next election? You've been shown. Now you've been shown in broad color all over the television. You've seen it. Your stupid vote doesn't mean anything. It's been shown to you that it means nothing. So are you going to go out there? You going to go to the ballot box on voting day? Going to go get your sticker? Walk around the office with it all afternoon? Act like you've been somebody? Or are you going to say, fuck you, take your time off of your stupid fucking shitty cheese job, go get a couple martinis and come back a little bit cocked, That's my advice. Fucking skip the goddamn ballot box. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you're going to get the same thing. You can vote on the D side, the R side, whatever. It doesn't matter. And you can hate the D's, and you can hate the R's, and you can hate the donkeys, and hate the elephants, and it's all about hate. What's up with that? That's what's been bothering me. It's toxic. It's a bad deal, I mean, I've had a lot of things go down here recently that I'm not even going to get into. Everything's cool. I'm fine. I've just been sitting around playing music, and got to go out on my dirt bike today for the first time in a long time, so I was stoked about that. That was fucking awesome. Get out there and do a little spinning around. That was cool. Anyway, it's been a long time, so I'm happy to be back with y'all, all 2.3 of you. But I love it. I love y'all. Anyways, here's what I was going to touch on tonight. Okay, because I keep seeing this. This keeps coming up, and it irritates me. Okay, and I don't know why, but this Brian Koberger case, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. It's the dude that supposedly or allegedly committed the 4 murders in Moscow, Idaho. Brutal murders. You know, I can't imagine what the families are going through. But I just can't even imagine. This is a bad. I mean, this is like the crime of. I mean, there's certainly instances where more people have been killed, but you know, in a fashion such as this, I don't know. It just there's something about this whole thing that gives me that check right here where it hits me right here, and I go, wait a minute, something ain't right, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not arguing one way or another for it. I mean, this guy might be the biggest psychopath of the century. He might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, if I were his attorney, right? And speaking of which, let's just dive into this a little bit, okay? All right, Ann Taylor is Brian Kohberger's court-appointed attorney. She's represented Xana Kernodle's mother, okay? Kara Northington, I believe is what she goes by now. Okay, so Taylor's represented her. She's also represented Benjamin Mogan, who is Maddie Mogan's father, and then Maddie Mogan's stepmother, all on drug charges. Xana Kernodle's mother was arrested on the 19th of November, 6 days after the murders happened, and she received 2 charges of felony counts of possession, and then she was arrested in Spokane on a criminal trespass. And I don't know if she's out now. I'm sure she probably is. But Ann Taylor dropped her case. Now, tell me that's not... Okay, so she picks up Kohberger, drops the victim's mother, and has represented another one of the victim's parents, be it her stepmother and her father, all on drug charges. This is a place that was known to be a drug house, right? Like the Uber driver said so. He said that he had taken people up there to score drugs. It was not a secret that this was a place where people went, you know. Now, Kohberger, he throws a whole kink in the whole thing, you know, okay? So Kohberger is a recovering heroin addict. Once an addict, always an addict, okay? He makes the sojourn across the country from Pennsylvania to Pullman, where he takes over as a TA in 3 classes, and then is also working on his doctorate in criminology, of all things. He's a weird dude. He's certainly a weird dude. There's no doubt about that. This is a weird guy. This guy's off. He's definitely socially awkward. He's different. But I'll tell you this right now. The dude is not what they're saying. They're saying, oh, he's an incel. No, he's not. This dude, he's got, he did have a nice vehicle. He lived in an apartment off campus. He was a teacher's assistant. And he already had a master's degree. So that gave him value. All right. And I can tell you what right now. There were girls around the junior to senior year age of, 20, 21, 22. The dude's 28. He's got his own shit going on. I mean, trust me. This dude wasn't an incel. There's no way. He's not a bad looking dude. He's goofy. He's weird. And yeah, there's stories of him doing weird shit. But you know what? That always comes out too. When one of these cases comes out, nobody ever says, oh, he was a good dude. It's like no one wants to say that. Oh yeah, he was always a little bit weird, standoffish, and kind of silent. What's wrong with that? That doesn't mean you're guilty. This was a horrific event that happened on November 13th of 2022. I mean, I don't know how a guy who will not eat his, whatever he eats, nuts and berries. He's a vegan. Nuts and berries. He won't eat them out of a pan that has ever previously had meat cooked in it. So the idea of this dude stabbing 4 20 and 21-year-old individuals to death, it doesn't sit right with me. Maybe he did. The fact that there was only there was trace DNA on that snap, on that knife sheath. Now let me ask you this, all right? You have a knife. I don't have one in here that's got a sheath on it. Everything I've got's got a clip. But if I'm going in, right, here's this little teeny Kershaw knife, right? Let's say I'm going in, and I'm going in to get 4 people. Granted, I wouldn't be using this. And Kohberger had a gun, mind you. Kohberger also had a gun. So this doesn't make any fucking sense. If he wanted to murder these people, he'd have gone in with the gun and gone bam, 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 bam. Double tap. 8 bullets. You're out. But instead, there ends up being a knife sheath on the bed next to Maddie and Kylie. Now, no disrespect to any of the victims or the families. I hope that nobody takes that this way, because I'm not. I hope that if Kohberger did this, I hope that he gets exactly what's coming to him. But there's just so much of it that doesn't make sense. There's the fact that you got a drug house, right? Okay, now, as most people know, I've been around the world a little bit. And have a little bit of knowledge in this world. So these kids in this house, if they do have a party house, a drug house, they're not selling weed, because you can just travel over the state line and you can get it and it's legal. Okay, so weed is not a thing that they're selling. That's what I did in college. Okay, this is not what's going on here. So they're moving something else. Okay. You have one victim who has a mother who was arrested 6 days after her murder and given 2 felony charges for possession. Has been up on drug charges previously. Then you have another victim whose parents, whose father and stepmother have also been up on drug charges. And they were all represented by the same attorney. And that attorney dropped everything and took Kohberger's case. Now I understand. They're saying, well, there's only so many people in this area that can take on a case that is got the death penalty. Really? You're within miles of Spokane. Like, Spokane's right there. You can't tell me that between Pullman, Moscow, and Spokane, and Post Falls, and Coeur d'Alene, that you don't have somebody that would take this case, that would be qualified to take a death penalty case, because that's what goes on in Idaho. You gotta be kidding me. What's going on here? What's this Ann Taylor know? Okay, now let's put forth some hypotheticals. All right, let's say that Kohberger, right? Kohberger is a recovering heroin addict, allegedly. I don't know the man. I'm just going by what I've heard. Okay, so this is all just allegedly. All right, so I'm not saying any of this is absolutely true, and I'm not taking any side. But I want to play devil's advocate, because you always have to do that when you're looking at cases like this, because sometimes, and actually most of the time, the truth is going to be stranger than fiction. So here's my, and this is, like I said, this is no offense to anybody whatsoever. I'm not trying to stomp on anybody's feelings or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, what if, okay? You always gotta play the what if. Okay, so let's say this. Let's say Koberger, right? And he's a recovering drug addict from heroin, right? He shows up. He takes on 3 classes as a TA. He's also doing his studying to get his doctorate. He's bitten off more than he could chew. He goes over to this place called the Mad Greek over in Moscow. A couple of the victims work there. He's allegedly awkward with women, but perhaps he's looking to, put a little, high step in his finish, I guess we should say. Maybe he's looking for something to speed him up a little bit, right? Maybe not necessarily the heroin, but maybe he's looking for something else. I've found it very hard to find out what Xana's mother was charged with. I know that she'd used fentanyl, and I wouldn't doubt that she had access to meth. And this is just me saying, I'm not saying this is factual, nothing like that, okay? So don't get mad, don't get angry, you take it easy. If you look at the photos of these girls and these roommates in this home, Xana is the one that she doesn't kind of fit. She doesn't fit the mold, right? She doesn't have the blonde hair. She doesn't have the duck lips. She understands that school costs money. I think her mother understood the same thing, and I think that she was. This is just a hypothetical, okay? If I were representing Koberger, this is what I would represent. This is what I would put forth, is that Koberger got hooked on meth. The reason Xana was up at 4:15 in the morning, waiting for that DoorDash driver, is because she was waiting for Koberger. The reason Koberger's phone wasn't on is because the heat had been turned on up there at that place because they'd been selling dope out of the place. And so she told him to make sure he either didn't have his phone on or he didn't have his phone with him, and gave him a time to show up. They got back before 2 o'clock, like 1:51. It was 4:15, I think, when the DoorDash showed up. Now, what if Koberger was supposed to meet her there at that time to get his fix? He's going, he's driving around, he's jonesing out, I mean, you've all seen people that are, jonesing on, for drugs. I mean, they'll do anything at any time, at any time of the day. They don't give a shit. They just got to get that fix, right? They got to get that, I mean, so this guy, we're talking about an ex-heroin addict, right? So his neighbors had said he'd been up vacuuming at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It seems to fit. He got fired, apparently, allegedly, is what I heard. I don't know. I mean, none of these are absolute facts because I haven't seen the paperwork in front of me. So I'm just throwing, these are all hypotheticals, right? So Koberger goes over there and he shows up at 4 in the morning and he sees the DoorDash guy there. He stops short, right? Pulls his rig over. He's like, shit, I can't go up there when this guy's here. I don't want him to see me. This guy is a TA of three different classes at Washington State, 8 miles away. He doesn't want to be seen at a drug house, right? Like, that could be detrimental to him. Although it seems like he set his own house on fire. But anyways, so let's say that he sees the DoorDash guy. He stops, he pulls off, turns the lights off. He's sitting there from a vantage point. This guy's obviously not an idiot. He's not, he can't be he's an idiot. I mean, the way that he got himself, if he's not guilty of this, and I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but if he's not, boy, he was stupid about it. The first time when I first saw this case, the first thing I said was, this is an older guy from the Pullman area, and he parked back behind that house because it was wooded, which it is, and I was like, and he had known the house. I think I was right on that one. I think that the dude had been scoring drugs over there. I think that Kernodles, this is just a what if, okay? I'm not going to say I think, because it's not, these are just hypotheticals. But what if one of these individuals, one of these parents, look at the picture of Xana Kernodle's mother. The picture of her I found, she's 43 years old. She looks like she's 70. She's got no teeth. She is obviously a junkie. What if she had connections with the cartel? What if the drugs they were moving out of that house came from her via the cartel? What if she didn't pay her bill? These killings have the characteristics of what the cartel would do. These don't have the characteristics of what a 28-year-old vegan doctoral candidate TA at Washington State would do. This is a guy that wouldn't eat food out of a pan that had meat cooked in it. Who's been around a stabbing? Who's been stabbed? All right, I've been stabbed, and I've been around, and I've seen murders with blades. Okay, it's something I never hope to be a part of or be anywhere near ever again in my life. This is a very, very personal thing. When you're talking about, seriously. I mean, this is just a little ass fucking piece of shit little blade here. I mean, it's not, it's a Kershaw, so it's not that big a piece. But I mean, this is personal. This is personal. And when you're a vegan, to be able to do that to 4 people, you are a psychopath. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is. I'm not saying he's not. Maybe this dude is. I mean, he's got some weird ass characteristics, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything either, because people have weird characteristics. I mean, I have weird characteristics that people don't understand, but that doesn't make me a goddamn knife murderer, for fuck's sake. I'm just saying that what if it's just weird that you've got because you see, coincidence, right? Coincidence doesn't compile. It'll happen it'll happen here and there, right? Like I mean, think about your life, right? When have you ever been in a situation where every single thing right down the line was a coincidence? That's what this thing has been. You've got Ann Taylor has represented 3 of the parents of the victims, who's now representing the suspect. I mean, what's going on here? The dude is a criminal justice. He's already got a PhD. Or not a PhD, I'm sorry. He's got a master's degree. He waives extradition from Pennsylvania to go back to Idaho. Now, I'm just saying, dude, I mean, I know enough about the criminal justice system to know that you don't waive that extradition and just go back to Idaho, because there's no fucking way that dude gets a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho. They've invested too much in it. They've invested too much in his guilt. The Moscow police has, the feds that have been involved, the community, the parents, everybody, the university. What if they were to find out that killer was still out there? They'd lose their collective minds. Okay? So, let's look at this. You have 2 20-year-olds, 2 21-year-olds. Beautiful kids. I feel horrible for their families, but my feelings don't bring them back. Nothing's going to bring them back. Nothing's going to bring them back. The families want justice, right? But I'm not certain that the justice they're invested in is the justice that they're looking at getting. I don't know. I don't think this dude is going to win one way or another. I think what happens is he pleads it down so he doesn't get the death penalty, and he spends the rest of his life in Kuna. Why haven't the feds taken over this thing? This dude crossed state lines. So why haven't the feds stepped in? Okay? All the feds have to do is prove that something affected commerce. Well, if he was over there scoring drugs and he supposedly committed these murders, allegedly, I mean, that's affecting commerce. It's weird to me that the feds haven't picked this up, because this seems to me that it would be a slam dunk if there were no holes in it. And that's the thing. You got to look at it. When the feds take on something, they make sure there's no holes in it. Like they have like a 95 point. They're over like almost 100% conviction rate with the feds. Why haven't they jumped in? Why is this a state thing? Because this dude crossed state lines a number of times. If he went over state lines and committed the murders, he crossed back over, went back home, crossed back over again, and then picked up his father in Spokane. Now, this is another one. The dad. What is going on with this fucking guy? What's going on with my camera? Jesus Christ. Leave it to Beaver here. God damn it. This thing. All right. Well, we'll probably have to go to the other camera here, I guess. If I can find it. What happened to my goddamn... There we go. We're back. All right. Sorry about that. So the father flies all the way out there from Pennsylvania. Is this guy just a doofus? Does he not understand what's going on? Does he not understand that there were 4 of these murders that happened right up the street from his kid's place, and the vehicle that they're looking for is the vehicle that he's going to fly into Spokane and ride in all the way across the country in the middle of the winter? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, this dude had to have thought something. I mean, come on. Your kid lives right there. You know your kid's a little bit goofy. He's a little bit goony. You know who your kids are. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't, I mean, you're willing to put yourself in that position. And then when they get pulled over, he mentions the other BK that got shot or whatever, and that, you know, that standoff. That's what he mentions to the police officer. And he had that goony look on his face. Like that goony bird, like, I mean, I can pull it up here and we can take a look at it. I mean, it's like, dude, what's this guy doing, you know? It's like, yo, what's up? I mean, what's going on, dog? I mean, you're looking all crazy, dude. I mean, and then, you know, I mean, I'm not saying the guy's innocent at all. So don't get me wrong here, okay? I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying there are some weird-ass things going on here in this case. And I think it's different than what everybody's seeing. My thought on it is this. You've got 3 different parents for certain that have been in trouble for drugs. For the life of me, I can't find out what kind of drugs they've been charged with. The only one I could find is Xana Kernodle's mother, Kara, has been in trouble for fentanyl. Okay? These kids were not selling weed. The Uber drivers in that town knew it was a drug house. Right? They knew they were taking kids up there to buy drugs. They weren't buying weed at that house. They were buying harder shit because the weed was easy to get. I mean, I can imagine that Moscow, Idaho is a big, fat, green, stinky cloud. I mean, you just go a couple miles and it's legal. I mean, you can't tell me that. I mean, When I lived in fucking Boise, everything was fucking illegal back then, of course. But there was a place in Ontario, Oregon, like 35 minutes away, where they had a head shop where you could go get like pipes and bongs, and we'd drive over there all the time. So you can't tell me that kids aren't taking a drive right across the border, 8 miles. I mean, shit, come on. The cops probably don't give a shit. So there's weed everywhere. I guarantee it. I guarantee that everybody at that school is smoking weed. Which is fine. Whatever. Who cares? It's a plant. It doesn't matter. It's a plant. It's not even, I mean, in my mind, that's not even a drug. Even though it's a Schedule 1 narcotic. Way to go, fucking DEA and government. There's government for you. They take a plant and it's scheduled higher than fucking heroin is. Yeah, good work. That's why democracy has worked so well. Your vote really counts. You fucking idiots. Quit voting. Just stop. Don't vote anymore. You don't have the capacity. You don't know the policies. You don't even know what's going on. Just stop. Just quit. Anybody that goes in there and they grab their ballot and they go R or D right down the line, it's stupid. Think about it. You're electing some other person that is no smarter than you, just another dipshit, to go run your life, to make laws that control your life and your children's life. Why would you do that? I mean, you're not that smart. I know I'm not that smart. But I mean, I've spent enough time, delving into these things that I feel like I have, a little bit more knowledge than most do. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm a useful idiot. That's it. Like I say, when my day comes, I just hope that they take the useful off or the idiot off of it and then just say I was useful. We'll see. Maybe they just say I'm an idiot. That could be too. I mean, I have no misgivings on who I am or, and my aptitude. But I know that I don't want to vote for some asshole to go to D.C. and then make laws and watch them parade around and grandstand and have those people control what I do. I mean, that's why I'm an anarchist. I mean, I think that we all have the capacity. We all know, we all know what we need to do. I mean, there's really a couple things that you need to live by, and it's I mean, the first one comes from your beloved Bible. It's do unto others. It's about doing no harm and being kind. And that's it. And not harming another person or their property. That's what anarchy is, right? But people don't understand that. People think that anarchy is these fucking Antifa jackasses that go out and burn cities down and, fucking act like morons and have fucking Kool-Aid hair and shit. Whatever. You want to have Kool-Aid hair, that's fine. But at least, be able to have a conversation. These are people that can't even have a conversation. They just want to shut everybody down. They want everybody, they're not into free speech. They call themselves anti-fascist, yet they don't want you to speak. And that's what I keep running into, it seems like, is everywhere you turn, it's like somebody's not wanting you to speak. And it's like, why? It's healthy. Even if you're fucked up, even if you're saying fucked up shit that's not even close to being right, that's going to be a learning experience because somebody else is going to say, hey, dude, listen to what you're saying, dog. You're saying some fucking jacked up shit. Like, this is where you're wrong. And a reasonable person I appreciate it when people call me out. You know what I mean? It's like, you catch me up at some bullshit, call me out. I ain't got no problem with it. I'm not that I don't have that fucking big ego. I know that I'm not even close to being always right. Jesus Christ, I'm probably never fucking right. And who cares about being right? It's not about being right. I mean, there's being right and there's being right. You know what I mean? Like, by being right, like, it's like you stand up for your homeboy, right? Like you got your people's back. That's being right. But to just be right all the time, I don't have to be right all the time. I like being wrong. If I'm wrong, then that means that, hey, I'm learning, right? So this whole idea of voting for these people, and these people have all this money. Look at him. Look at this fucking Eric Swalwell dipshit. This guy, what a puke. He's such a fucking puke. He looks like a fucking pelican that swallowed a goddamn basketball, you know? And I hate pelicans. I don't really hate many things, but I do not like pelicans. And that's what he looks like to me. And that's what he sounds like to me. This guy's a doofus. You know, Maxine Waters, doofus. Fucking Mitch McConnell, doofus. You know, the Biden and, I mean, they're all just doofuses. You've got a handful that are even worth a damn. And what are they doing? They take the money that you make from your job, right? You go to your job, right? You're gonna go to your job on Monday morning, and you're gonna clock in at 7 or 8 o'clock or whatever. You're gonna take your break at 10 and go out and have your little cigarette or your coffee or whatever you're gonna do, and then you're gonna push it a couple minutes longer than you should. You're gonna come back and you're gonna get back on your computer or whatever it is that you're doing. And then at noon, you're going to, out the door you go. So you punch out for that one. You're going to come back late from that, punch in and hope that whoever the boss is doesn't see it. And you're going to sit there all day just looking at the clock. Just looking at the clock. Like, God damn it, when the fuck can I get out of here? Is that what life is? I mean, and you sit there and you do that day after day, week after week, month after month, and you get your paycheck, right? And you look at your paycheck, and here you've got all these deductions. You didn't agree to any of those. You took a job, say you took a job at $25 an hour, right? And you're looking at your paycheck every week, and you got to get your 40 hours, right? Because that's what it's all about, getting your 40. Got to get your 8 and skate. It's not about, when you're working, when you're a wage slave, it's not about the idea that you can go in and you can pull off a couple grand in 4 hours on a day. I can do that. I mean, it takes a little bit to get there, but I mean, I can do that. And I will do that if I need to. I got no problem with it, I mean, but I don't do it like I used to. I don't carry all the guys and all the bullshit, I just don't want the hassle of being an employer. I'd rather just be a solo roller, At least then it's just on me. But I mean, you think about it, right? You spend 40 hours a week sitting there. And then when election time comes around, you get up, it's time to go vote. It's time to go vote. And you scamper off and you go down to the fucking ballot box and you fucking get your fucking ballot and you slide her in there. And if you're from Wyoming, it doesn't matter anyways. We have 3 fucking electoral votes and they're all Republican every year regardless. So it doesn't really matter if you vote in Wyoming or not. Okay. So this nonsense of saying that we're the equality state and blah, 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 blah. Okay, sure. We were the first state to allow women to fucking vote. But you know why we did it? Because we didn't have enough citizens to be considered a state without letting women vote. That's what it is. It's not that this is the equality state. It has nothing to do with it. Okay? So hello. Are we wrapping this around our minds? Tell your children this because they're going to be fed this bullshit in school. It's not the equality state because anybody in Wyoming felt like women had an equal say. It was, no, we had no way to become a state. We didn't have the numbers. We didn't have the citizenship to become a state unless we allowed women's suffrage. And in that case, they voted to allow it. I shouldn't even say we because I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't here at the time. It wasn't we, it wasn't me. It was these other dipshits. So don't lie to yourself. And don't let your kids get lied to. So when your kids come home with that bullshit from schools talking about the equality state, it ain't the fucking equality state, okay? Period. Bottom line. That's never what it was about. That's not why it happened. That's not why Wyoming was the first state to allow women's suffrage. And if you take that word and you spell it differently, well, you know what I mean. If you know what I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know how suffrage and suffrage are spelled, but there's two different spellings and there's two different meanings. However, this state is not the equality state because the power that, you know, the people that, the men in charge thought that women should be allowed to vote. That had nothing to, and they can tell all these stories as to the fucking moon. It's not the fact. You know, there's always an underlying fact behind everything, folks. And, you know, this whole thing, like Ukraine, you've not got the truth. And then they go and arrest this kid, this whistleblower kid that came out and said, hey, this is what's really fucking going on. And they arrest the kid? Who didn't know this was going on already? Who didn't know this was a sham? Who didn't know the whole Ukraine thing was a fucking goddamn mess? And it was a mess. Guess why it was a mess? And here's the thing. I'm not a Trumpster. I don't give a shit if he gets reelected or not. Quite honestly, I don't care. I don't give a shit I don't care. Put that fucking geriatric mushhead back in there again. Let the whole fucking thing fall apart. It needs to. It's going to have to collapse anyways. This money system, all of it, it's the banking system, the fractional reserve system, it's Wall Street. It's all going to, it has to. If it doesn't fucking fall apart, then, I mean, it's going to. There's no doubt about it. It's just like, why don't we just rip the Band-Aid off, let it crumble, and pick up the pieces? Because there is an answer. Nobody wants to hear the answer. Hopefully someday people will want to hear the answer. And I don't have all the answers, but I've got some pretty good fucking ideas, I think. And I think they coincide with a lot of other people's decent ideas, and I think that there's a better way to go than what we've done here. And I swear to God, and I say this all the time, I hear these people, if you say democracy, I will. If you say democracy, next time I see you, I will slap you. Because I don't want to hear that. That's bullshit. We don't have a democracy. We've never been a democracy. It's been a representative republic since day one. And it hasn't worked. Okay? It hasn't worked. You're talking about a democracy that at one point allowed, the 3/5 fucking law. So that a black individual's vote was only worth 3/5 of a white person's vote. That's your democracy. You had people that wrote a Declaration of Independence and a constitution, one of which started with the course of human events, blah, 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 talking about men being created equal. Didn't say anything about women, did it? No. Didn't say anything about black men or black women or Native American men or women, did it? It was written by dudes that owned, some of them up over 600 people, like Thomas Jefferson. He owned 600 people. That's your guy? I mean, are you really going to get upset when people want to tear down a statue of that dude? I mean, it doesn't really offend me that much. I don't give a shit. I mean, to me, the whole thing was pretty hypocritical. I mean, when you're going to sit there and you're going to write a document, I've got one right here. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. The Pocket Constitution, sitting right here at my desk. All right. See, I've got one sitting right here. All right. Firmly held in your hands are the greatest human-inspired documents declaring freedom and securing liberty that our world has ever granted to a pen. I don't think that's the case, because when this was penned, you had people that were owned So you can say whatever you want about this shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this isn't to say that I believe in freedom. I don't believe in equity. I don't believe in equality of outcome. But I think that everybody should have a fairly equal starting line. I mean, I don't know how we go about getting there. I do know how we go about getting there, and it's going to take a lot of work, and nobody wants to hear about that right now. We hold the truth to be self-evident. Oh, this is Joe Biden. He nailed this one. All men are created equal. Because of the thing that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to pursue these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That, ladies and gentlemen, encompasses all of us. The consent of the governed. Do you consent to this shit that's going on right now? Did you consent to, in 2003, us going over and killing 1 million innocent Iraqi people and bombing cities of antiquity into fucking nothingness? I don't think you probably did. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it's the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. If this is the document, then this is the Declaration of Independence. Right there. Okay? You can get one of these for free. I would encourage you to do so. I don't put all my fucking eggs in this basket. All right? It is certainly, if you're to look at this document and you're to think, okay, this was written with the idea that everybody was a free person, like everybody was sovereign over themselves, but this was not written under those circumstances. So to me, it seems kind of hypocritical. Read about the flag song too. There's a lot to the flag song that y'all don't know. Read every verse of that thing. Don't get mad at me. Read it first. Okay? Read it and you tell me that you think that that's something that you should be standing and putting your hand on your heart for. Because there is a real story to that. And it's not what you think it is. Anyways. It's good to read this stuff. It's good to read these. At least you know what's in it. But I'm not saying that this is, it's not, and the Bible isn't even anything either, It's just words by men, all this stuff, that's all it is. Everything I'm saying right now, it's just words of a man, of a man, that's it. But, it's, I think that we have to transcend this stuff. Number one, above all things, is this monetary system. It's got to go. And for all you that got money and you've saved up, that doesn't mean you're gonna lose your shit. There's enough for everybody to have everything they want, everything they need, everything. We have a world of resources at our fingertips if we quit fighting each other about it. And we'll get into this at a later date because I've been babbling long enough and I haven't been on air too much lately. It's been quite a while. So I'm going to leave it at that and we're going to pick up, I think, at that point next time, and we'll get back into that whole, ball of fucking rattlesnakes. It's very simple, though. The answers are right in front of our faces, but we're too stupid to fucking see them, and that's our problem. We're very stupid. And stupidity is the pandemic. There's nothing that is more harmful to humanity than stupidity. Legitimately. So let's try not to be stupid anymore. It's human nature to be stupid, but let's think about the choices that we're making, the things that we're saying, our outlooks on things, the way we go about our daily life. And it's difficult. We're going to screw up. And we're fallible creatures. That's all there is to it. We're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. And we're going to keep doing it our whole life. You're never going to get it right. You're never going to nail it down. You're never going to be like, I fucking got it. You're never going to be like Mary Lou Retton fucking, flying off the goddamn monkey bars or whatever the fuck she did. Whatever, You're not going to stick it. You got to come to terms with that too. You got to understand that most things you're not going to stick it. Every once in a while, maybe you win the small battles, But that's not just saying that you got a license to be a fuck up either. You're going to fuck up when you go at everything in life with your best thoughts and intentions, which, as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it's not even about intentions. It's just about being decent to each other. It's about being caring for one another. It's about giving a shit about each other. I challenge everybody on election day, rather than going to the stupid fucking polls, why don't you reach over the fence to your neighbor? Say, hey, you want to come over tonight for a cookout? Or what can I bring to your place? Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Go meet somebody, even if they don't speak the same language. Guess what? You might learn something. And then you got a friend or friends. Because I tell you what, there's nothing that a person loves more than hearing their own name, or like saying, when I speak with somebody of Hispanic descent, and I can understand Spanish very well. I can speak it. It's shaky. If I'm around it a lot, I can speak. It's one of those things you have to practice. It's just like playing guitar or anything else that, you got to repeat it. And I don't have the opportunity to do that too much up here in Wyoming. But I tell you what, when I speak with a Hispanic person up here, especially in Wyoming, and I make the effort to speak to them in their language, these people's their face lights up, right? And I've got friends, and they start asking me about English, right? So now we're having a conversation where we're both aware of each other, but we're trying to learn, right? So they're asking me questions. I'm asking them questions about how to conjugate certain this and that. And how do you say this? How do you say that? And next thing you know, you've got a friend. Next thing you know, you're over at somebody's house and you're having like some of the best goddamn fajitas and salsa that you've ever had in your life. Or you've got some new friends over at your place and you're throwing a big ass, a tri-tip on the fucking Traeger or something, And hanging out, drinking Modelo's or whatever, that's what we need more of, right? We need to drop all this bullshit, because none of us were here when slavery was a thing, and it was an awful thing. I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't. It was bullshit. It was a fucking, but that's been something that's been a part of humanity forever, because we're fuck-ups. And we all are fuck-ups. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what your gender identity is. We're all fuck-ups. But we got to be compassionate and kind towards one another, and that's the main thing. And until we start doing that, then we're really not going to make any strides forward. And here we are on the brink of God knows what. It seems like it's back to the 80s again, man. It's like the whole, everybody's worried about nuclear war. Whatever. Fire them off, I guess, because we all got to die anyways. I mean, it's not like we're going to die. We got to die. It's part of the deal, So keep that in mind too. And that goes for every single person on the planet, no matter where they're from, no matter what color their skin is, no matter what language they speak, no matter the amount of money they have or don't have. We all got to die. It's not we're all gonna die. We gotta die. That's the equation, ladies and gentlemen. So why in the fuck are we killing each other? Why in the fuck are we doing this? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would you want to take what's so precious to you and take it from somebody else to prove a point when we're all going to go away within 70 to 80 years anyways? We've got that much time, and then we're done. We're gone. So what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we involved in sending shit over the, these are all problems that would be easily remedied if you didn't have this money situation in the middle of it. And we don't need it. We have everything that we need on this earth. This is an abundant planet. We have resources beyond our imagination and plenty for everyone. There's no reason for one man to have $300 billion and another man to have 30 cents sitting on a street corner. You know? There's no reason. Everybody has something to offer. But when you make that negotiation and that agreement into, trading your time for it, then that's where it gets fucked up. Like, I would encourage anybody out there, if you've got any inclination whatsoever, quit your fucking job. If you're working for an hourly wage, I would stop. I would quit. That's just me. You don't have to listen to me, obviously. Do your own thing. But I'm telling you, by doing such, you might go through some difficult times, but your life will be a lot better because, dude, that's all we got. We got time, and that's it. That's our only fucking commodity. And it's slipping away. It's slipping away quicker than shit, and we don't know what the hell comes next. We don't know what came before. I mean, we all have our ideas on it. I have my ideas. I'm sure you have yours. People have their religious beliefs, what have you, which that's fine. I respect that. I respect everybody's right to, have their faith and their beliefs, wherever they want to have them, as long as they're doing no harm. That's the main thing. Do no harm. Do no harm and be kind. That's all. That's why I end every show with that. And, maybe I'll get into what I've been through lately on the next one. It's been things happen. You go through tough times. Everybody goes through it. So that's why I haven't been on air. I'm going to try and I'm going to get back on here. Tonight was the first step, jumping back in. Anyhow, I love all you. Be good to each other, okay? And as I always end it, from 52 miles east of Jellystone Park in Coyote, Wyoming, this is the Mike Files. Be good at it. In all things be kind and do no harm. And we'll catch you on the flip, all right? Peace out. Love y'all.